The morning in Paris seemed ordinary. Shops opened, commuters hurried, and traffic moved through the 10th arrondissement. But en Rue des Petites Sécuries, a killer waited. At 9:45 a.m., 52-year-old Dulcie September reached the ANC office. Just then a gunman emerged. 5 shots rang out. She collapsed and died within moments.
Comment on the investigation? Tell us the truth!
They're here!
Comment on the investigation! Look this way! Move back!
Did forensics find anything? They're still checking the back.
Comment on the investigation!
More than 3 decades later, the murder remains unsolved. Who was Dulcie September, and why was she killed? Dulcie September was not a celebrity. She was not wealthy. She carried no weapon and commanded no army. Yet, she was considered dangerous by some of the most powerful people in the world. Born in Cape Town, South Africa, she grew up under apartheid, a system that legally separated people based on race and denied basic rights to the country's black majority. Rather than remain silent, Dulcie joined the struggle against apartheid. Her activism led to imprisonment, surveillance, and eventually exile. By the 1980s, she was living in Paris as the ANC's representative for France, Switzerland, and Luxembourg. Her mission was simple: expose the apartheid regime and build international support against it. But what began as political work soon led her into a world of secrets. According to colleagues and researchers, Dulcie had become interested in allegations that international companies and governments were secretly helping apartheid South Africa circumvent international restrictions. Dulcie reportedly began examining possible arms transactions linking European interests to South Africa. Officially, many countries condemned apartheid. The allegations were explosive. If true, they would expose individuals and organizations profiting from a regime widely condemned by the international community. Friends later recalled that she seemed increasingly concerned. She believed she was being watched. She reportedly received threats. The deeper she looked, the more dangerous her work appeared to become. Then, suddenly, she was dead. French investigators quickly concluded that this was no random act of violence. The assassin appeared to know exactly where Dulcie would be and when she would arrive. The weapon used was fitted with a suppressor. Nothing was stolen. There was no argument, only murder. Too many observers. The killing looked like a professional assassination. The question was, who ordered it? As investigators searched for answers, suspicion quickly fell on South Africa's apartheid security apparatus. At the time, the government maintained a network of covert units tasked with monitoring and disrupting anti-apartheid movements around the world. Years later, testimony from former operatives suggested that the regime had conducted secret operations against political opponents abroad. Could Dulcie have been one of their targets? Supporters of this theory point to the government's history of eliminating perceived threats. Dulcie was a prominent ANC representative. She was active internationally, and she may have been uncovering information that powerful figures wanted hidden. For many, the motive seemed obvious. Yet no definitive evidence ever emerged linking a specific operative to the crime. Another theory centers on the allegations Dulcie was investigating before her death. Some researchers believe she came dangerously close to exposing clandestine military deals. If influential individuals were profiting from illegal cooperation with apartheid South Africa, her discoveries could have threatened reputations, careers, and enormous financial interests. In this scenario, the assassination was not merely political. It was economic, a warning to anyone who looked too closely. However, many of the documents that might confirm this theory remain inaccessible, missing, or disputed. As a result, the full truth remains elusive. Perhaps the most controversial theory suggests that multiple actors may have had reasons to silence Dulcie September. Some investigators argued that the murder could not have been carried out without assistance. Over the years, allegations surfaced involving intelligence services, mercenaries, covert networks, and international intermediaries. Others believed important information was ignored or buried during the investigation. But theories are not evidence. And despite decades of speculation, no court has established responsibility. Months passed, then years. The investigation slowly lost momentum. Files gathered dust. No suspect was ever charged. No trial was ever held. Leads dried up. Witnesses disappeared. The assassin remained a ghost. Decades later, the same questions still remain. Why did such a high-profile political assassination in the heart of Paris remain unsolved? For Dulcie September's family and supporters, the absence of answers became almost as painful as the murder itself. Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. The silence surrounding Dulcie September's assassination has only deepened the mystery. Today, Dulcie September is remembered as a courageous activist who dedicated her life to fighting injustice. Schools, streets, and memorials bear her name. Yet, the central mystery remains. Someone waited for her on a Paris street. Someone watched her approach that office door. Someone pulled the trigger. And someone, somewhere, knew why. But that truth has never been revealed. The files remain incomplete. The questions remain open. And the murder of Dulcie September continues to stand as one of the most haunting unsolved. Political assassinations linked to the struggle against apartheid. Perhaps one day, a forgotten document will surface. Perhaps a witness will finally speak. Or perhaps the identity of the killer will remain buried forever. Until then, the case of Dulcie September remains exactly what it was on that cold morning in March 1988. An unsolved crime, a silenced voice, and a mystery that refuses to die.